Hello, everybody, and welcome to our latest Master Your Marketing webinar series. My name is Kate. I'm the Content Marketing Manager here at MainStreet ROI, and we're really excited today to have Sean from ActiveDEMAND here to present with our latest Master Your Marketing webinar series, talking about increasing your conversion rates with account-based marketing. With that, let's get to know a little bit more about Sean here.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you all for taking the time to meet with us today, and I'm very excited to be part of this this webinar series. A little bit about me is I've been marketing for many years in different companies that I've either started or held executive positions on, and currently the company that I have is a company called ActiveDEMAND. So I'm CEO and co-founder of ActiveDEMAND, and I'll talk a little bit about ActiveDEMAND at the end of the presentation, but the intent of this presentation is not to be a marketing presentation for the product, and hopefully it's a case that with today's presentation you get some good tips and good ideas as far as how to drive conversion rates, specifically with account-based marketing strategies. And at the end of the presentation as well, we've got a free giveaway. We've got a free social media scheduling software package that is available to everybody who's on this webinar, and I'll give you a link to that scheduling tool at the end of the presentation. So today's presentation has a focus on really using account-based marketing as a conversion optimization strategy. And I'll talk a lot about data. I think data is the big key element and advantage we have when we're using account-based marketing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges we face as digital marketers and gaining an edge with the right data. And I'll talk about some of the struggles that we all may face doing account-based marketing, and I will as well give you a very concrete example of how, for example, we as a company are doing account-based marketing. So for starters, I just want to talk about what is account-based marketing and why, what is the advantage of account-based marketing. And account-based marketing, the idea being is that there's a set of key companies, accounts that we believe are aligned with our product and service offering. And if we know what these companies are, then it's a case that we will drive marketing initiatives to try to get these companies to move through our funnel and hopefully make a buying decision or another purchase decision that involves our products and services. So really the advantage of account-based marketing is that ahead of time, we know the companies, right? We know the companies that we're targeting. It's we control, for the most part, the dialogue, right? We're involved in the dialogue because it's a strategy where we know the other participant in the conversation. And I argue that if the accounts that we're targeting, it's a case that we have very good alignment with our sales staff as well as our marketing staff. Right, because the salespeople, they know what the accounts are, and the marketing staff, they know what the accounts are, and we're working together to try to convert these companies into being clients. And really another advantage of account-based marketing is that there's a lot of data available from multiple sources, and it's a case that we can go into it with a sound strategy and a lot of ammunition to help not just ourselves, but help the targeted accounts to make these purchasing decisions. Now, traditional marketing, the reality is we're not in the driver's seat. We may think we are, but the reality is we get what we get. There's no way to control the exact people that will come to our website and consume our digital assets. And quite often, as marketers are in the situation where, oh, look, it's a great looking lead. Look, it's fantastic sales. Come on, why aren't you taking this? And the reality is we do uncover hidden diamonds too. It's a case that, oh, look at this company. We never even knew that they had a need that we are so well aligned for. So there is a bit of up and down there on the traditional approaches. So definitely on the account-based marketing side of things, sales and marketing are aligned, and the initiatives are definitely strategic. Whereas with the traditional approaches, you know, it's going to be somewhat reactive. We can put all these great plans and infrastructure in place, but the reality is we don't, you know, we're making a meal, we don't know who's actually going to show up to eat it is the reality. So it's going to be somewhat reactive. So the challenges we face with it, so it isn't all just peaches and cream. Everybody isn't just focused only on account-based marketing for various reasons, and it's a case that I think it's because we face challenges with account-based marketing. And I think this first challenge I'm going to talk about is it's regardless of what type of marketing strategy that we undertake, just like ourselves, our clients, we put ourselves in the client's or prospect shoes. We're all busy. They're busy, right? And let's face it, with the availability of information and data, there's a lot of task switching, and our attention spans are getting lower and lower. And we're seeing this on our websites with decreases in dwell time on our pages, the page depths getting lower. And it's a case that we want people to engage with the content, but they're not really taking and consuming all of it. And the reality is the conversion rates are not where we want them to be. And hence we're taking in webinars like this to come up with strategies to hopefully help us with some of these challenges. Now, something that is a little bit more related to account-based marketing is, well, one is we have multiple accounts. Each of them are somewhat unique, but hopefully they're in some type of category that we're targeting. There's multiple industries. Like we have multiple, we're typically not going all in on one strategy. Account-based marketing is typically part of a well-balanced diet, so to speak. So, and we have only one website, right? So we can't just make our website targeting one specific account, right? We've got to hedge our bets, so to speak. And let's face it, everybody on the phone here today or on the webinar today, unlimited wants, limited resources, we have to make choices, right? It's a case that it isn't the case that we can do everything. We have to make choices, and that's really what strategy is about. Another challenge that we face is sometimes the journeys, even though people are doing a lot of task switching, is that the buying cycles might be a little bit longer because there's availability of information, right? I want to spend a little bit of time understanding what is the right purchase. Even when we when we're buying a phone or we're buying some type of a consumable, we want to spend the least amount of money and get the maximum. And so we'll spend time researching it. Now, with account-based marketing, if we think about it, if we're doing targeted messaging to a specific set of companies, the challenge we're going to face is how do we maintain a consistent dialogue and congruency through multiple steps of a somewhat longer journey. So it's a case if they get to the website or they get and consume a message that you've sent them, and then they come back, we don't want them to be thinking, you know, I'm dealing with a completely different company. Excuse me. And I think the biggest challenge we face in digital marketing is online buyers trust nothing. You know, it's a case that it's so easy, like you see in the news, all types of things about fake news, or even like I get emails from brands that I know and trust, and I won't open them. Like we all get emails from PayPal that we'll never open because, again, it's too easy to fake it. So as digital marketers, we face this challenge of really building trust and maintaining trust with our prospects. So really, this solution to these challenges is well-targeted messaging and personalized engagement. And really, I think that this is a data problem more than it is a marketing problem, specifically when we're talking about account-based marketing. So if I think about data, data is extremely important in account-based marketing. And really, if we look at the types of data available to us as strategists and as marketers rather, there's really, I categorize the data into three different categories: speculative or research-based data, behavioral data, and direct engagement data. So if we look at the research data, typically this is what I call metadata. It's descriptive data. It's data that is static, so to speak. It's like what companies the people work for. This person works for Acme Inc. or May. It's a case that Acme Inc. is in this specific industry. Their revenue targets or revenue model or their high-level public strategies, this type of stuff, I argue is metadata. It's descriptive data of the accounts that we're trying to target. And we'll get this data either from consultants or in-house subject matter experts, or maybe we'll do a bit of web investigation or look at the news or external research firms, or even we'll pull in some data from, say, some of the public enrichment APIs like data.com or Clearbit or any of these contact aggregators that are out there. There's lots of them. The next type of data is behavioral data. And this behavioral data is when the actual individuals are doing stuff, right? It's where they're doing it, how they come to your website, what they do on the website, what they click on, how long they spend on specific pages. Maybe they're phoning, they're chatting, maybe they bought something in the past. So this is really transactional data, and it's a case that it's very important data, but it is definitely it is transactional in nature. Somebody does something, we are viewing that as trying to interpret behaviors based on this data. And finally, the best data of all is direct engagement data. This is where people are actually, our staff are engaging directly with the client organizations or your staff or salespeople or whatever. So sales calls, customer meetings, Slack channel support calls, email back and forth. Any of this stuff happens where the people are the data is directly as part of a conversation with the individuals. So if we look at the data with respect to our funnel and our engagement, if we look at the account-based marketing funnel, at the very top are our target accounts. So these are these are the accounts that we're trying to engage with. So we have this list of accounts we want to do business with. Then we have down the funnel our engaged prospects within these accounts. So these are the people that are engaging with our marketing activities. And then a little bit further down the funnel is the people that we have sales opportunities actually identified, and the prospect has an opportunity, they have a need, they have budget, they have timelines, etc., and the salespeople are engaged. And then finally, at the end of the story is after they purchased, we're really trying to build them as brand advocates and increase the depth of a relationship with the account. So this is our funnel structure. Now, if we overlay the data, so it's a case that first we have our research metadata. And this is really at the beginning, it's speculative, and it applies to the entire funnel. Right? It's metadata. It's not changing rapidly. So let's face it, the data has a play throughout the entire journey with the targeted accounts. And this data is quite often inside your marketing automation platform or your CRM, spreadsheets, slide decks, reports from consultants, what have you. So there's a lot of this data captured in these different systems. Now, the next type of data is the behavioral data, and this can only start when the prospects are actually engaging with your marketing activities. So it's a case that it's behavioral, so there is some inference involved. So they are on this page for a long time. Chances are they're interested in that topic, or they came from this other site, or they engaged with this ad. So, but it is direct engagement, but there is, I would argue, some inference involved. And the systems that this data is in, marketing automation platforms, CRMs, Google Analytics, accounting systems, wherever. Any of these things that these are the systems that we're typically using to drive demand. So it's a case that the data is housed in these systems. And it applies, again, from the point of engagement all the way on through to, again, the account penetration strategies of the journey. And finally, the direct interaction data. And I think this is factual data because the reality is prospects we're having conversations. There's nobody going to benefit by misleading or deception. It's a case that people are asking questions on chat, they're asking questions on your support or your social media platforms, or talking to sales. This is direct engagement data, and I think this is the best data of all, because again, everything above that, this direct engagement data is somewhat speculative, if you will. And it's in the CRM, phone software, email software, chat software, social software. And hopefully we have the ability to flow this data from the factual data upstream into the behavioral data and speculative data, so that we get good, accurate representation of the accounts we're targeting. So really, and there's lots of studies about the data problem or the data advantage or the data opportunity. And I would say that there's a report here that talks about the data challenges, and businesses are agreeing that 84% of the data is absolutely essential to drive business. And the challenge is that, well, there's a lot of different cloud software applications that are capturing this data. And if we think about the stack, quite often we'll have social tools, email tools, web tools, survey tools, CRMs, all of this different cloud-based applications. Now, all of the software is outstanding. Each of these different tools does an outstanding job in its niche. But the challenge with a very large stack of specialty tools is that, let's face it, it becomes very difficult to maintain data consistency and congruency across the platforms, and really trying the prospect is what's missing in this picture. Little pieces of the prospect are spread out amongst all of the different software packages. And we get this sort of scenario where, if you can imagine a scenario where there's a room and there's an elephant in the room and these three blind mice all touching different parts of the elephant. One will think, oh, we've got a snake in the room. Another one will think, no, I don't, I'm just going to climb up this tree. They're touching the leg possibly. And at the end of the day is that there's no way to understand that there is actually an elephant in the room is the point of the story. So from an account-based marketing perspective, you really have two choices. Really simplify the stack, or have a very good integration strategy to get the data flowing, so that we have one version of the truth across all of our software systems. So really, and why do we want this? Because I think that to accelerate conversion rates and drive people through the buyer journey, we need to be using personalization. We need to personalize the engagement to the individual, right? We need to use this data to drive the conversation. So really, the benefits of personalization are clear. Definitely for us as marketers, it's a case that reduces friction. It allows us to communicate directly with the individuals and supply specific content to help people make buying decisions. And from the buyer's perspective, it reduces the friction. It's the case that they're not having to weed through all of the information you have. Really, they have challenges themselves to come to a buying decision, so you're helping them along that process. Now, from an account-based marketing perspective, if we're just doing, targeting 5 or 6 accounts, we can do this manually, right? It's a few prospects, few people to reach. Okay, I only have 10 companies and 3 people in each company. It's not a big problem. But if we're wanting to really scale our businesses, The reality is we want to, instead of fishing, we want to fish with nets as opposed to hooks, right? Because we want to drive more business through our funnel. So really, manual personalization becomes extremely difficult, if not impossible, to do, unless, of course, we're able to automate the process. It's a case that really the reason what we really want to get to is journey automation through the use of contextual content. So it's a case that we want to be telling a story with or building a relationship with an account where we're saying, we know the problem that not just your industry faces, but you as a company face. And we want to be able to adapt our content such that as they move through the buying process, that the messaging is consistent and they don't fall off the track, so to speak. So really, we want them to be able to come back to the website, come back to our engagement, come back to our content, and be left off exactly where they were the last time they came. So we're not jumping off the cliff and reintroducing ourselves to the account the next time they come in, let's say, instead of from an email via SEO. So really, where do we begin? And I think it's we need to begin by working on the data and understanding the journey and building our data plan and understanding that there is a progression from anonymous visitor through to where we are doing the direct engagement. And we need to understand what tools we're using, have a plan in place to capture the data, and build our strategies both for the anonymous visitors all the way through to where we are directly engaging with the prospects. So I'm going to switch it over just a bit here, and I'm going to go through an explicit example of how we've done some account-based marketing ourselves and some of the strategies that we've done to drive account-based marketing and how we've been able to positively impact our conversion rates, shorten our sales cycle times, and more importantly, help our clients make buying decisions. So really what our company is, I'll just talk about what software we're selling so that the strategies make sense when I walk through the story. So ActiveDEMAND is a full stack marketing platform. And the idea being is that it has all of the technology in a single stack so that there is really one data model that is being impacted no matter what the marketing or sales strategy is. So it's a case we have social media dissemination tools, email marketing tools, landing pages, appointment scheduling systems, surveys, and one of the hottest leads, and I challenge everybody on the phone to disagree with this, is the hottest lead ever is when a prospect phones, right? So if somebody like yourself, if you're phoning a vendor, it's typically for the first time, it's because you're interested in the products they sell. So if it's a case that we're not able to connect the call to the marketing initiatives, it's a case that there's a big gap in the marketing story. So ActiveDEMAND is a call tracking solution as well. And we also integrate with the social media platforms and the ad platforms, et cetera. But really the idea being is that with a full stack solution, there is one version of the truth, which is of the prospect. So we're tracking the prospect from initial engagement all the way through to where they become brand advocates. And specifically how it relates to the account-based marketing story is some of the things that we do that is unique to our platform is our contextual content system and our ability to do behavioral segmentation. So, and I'll talk a little bit about this when I go through the example of how we are doing our own account-based marketing, a specific example. And of course, we're a full marketing automation platform with landing pages, website tracking, dashboards, and I think the call piece that is really powerful in this solution with our conversation or call forensics, we call it, where we can actually detect interests based on what somebody talks about on the phone. So we're really good at getting the direct engagement data as well as the behavioral data. So I'm going to go through and walk through an example of how how we will do account-based marketing, and look at one of our segments as a vendor. So one of our segments, we have several segments that buy our software. We have definitely a lot of software as a service companies that use our software. We have a lot of small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and very large businesses that have longer sales cycles, short sales cycles, et cetera. So we have a large, if you think about the different buyer profiles that we have to address as a company, it's diverse, right? And it's a case that, you know, if we're thinking about account-based marketing, really, just like you, we're going to have to make a choice about, okay, which of the many segments are we going to target as marketers, and which accounts in that segment are of interest in this specific initiative. So one of the segments that we do a lot with is marketing agencies. So marketing agencies use our software to drive demand for a fleet of clients. So I'm going to show you how we are doing account-based marketing as one of our examples in that one segment. And we do multiple segments just like you do. But one of the segments that I'm going to use in this example is how we're doing account-based marketing, specifically trying to target marketing agencies. So the first thing we're going to do, of course, is our research-based data. So we're going to find the domains of the agencies. There's lots of ways we can do it, just like you. We know which companies that are agencies, and we know what types of agencies they are. So what we'll do is we'll go find all of the domains of these companies that we want to do business with. We'll upload the domains into our platform, and with our platform, we have the ability to do data enrichment. So we will go pull external public data for all of these accounts that we're going to target. So for example, you know, this is an example of one of the an example agency that we potentially would be targeting in a company called TopDraw. So this company, we uploaded their domain, we did the data enrichment, we know that their employee range is 11 to 50 people. They're in about, I think it says they're 8 million or 80 million in revenue. We can see some of the technology that we've pulled off of the external systems. We've pulled some employees of the account from our various sources. So the point is and the logos are extremely important in our account-based marketing strategy. So now that we have, and we've got contacts through contact aggregators and paid advertisements, et cetera. So now we have this, and TopDraw is one example, but there's a whole fleet of organizations that are in this space. So now, if we look at really a very important part of our marketing strategy is our website. We're using WordPress, just like many of you people out there today. So with our website and integration with ActiveDEMAND, we have the ability to do personalized, dynamic, contextual content on the website. So we have different types of content that we can dynamically adapt on the WordPress site. We can do inline dynamic content, so we can not just personalize, but we can change the content based on the state of the buyer journey or the marketing segment. We also have all of the overlays like subscriber bars or push down bars or tooltips. We as well integrate with the ad platform so that we can dynamically adapt our ads based on the behaviors of the individuals. So if and as well pop-ups, which are something we do contextually as well. So if we look at the example with, you know, account-based marketing for the agencies, let's say there's, you know, the CEO of TopDraw, his name is Adriel. So we have a bunch of contacts in different agencies, and the experience here is looking at what Adriel's experience is. So if we send an email to Adriel, Adriel will click through and the website will adapt to Adriel. Right, so it'll talk to him personally. We know that he doesn't have an agency portal. We'll automatically inject his logo onto the website, and the subscriber bars are going to be personalized based on what stage of the buyer journey Adriel is in. And if he scrolls around our website, it's the case that the reports on the website are going to inject his domain, inject his logos, inject his cityscape. So we're really going to be personalizing the engagement with Adrill and TopDraw. So Adrill will never be able to come back to our website without seeing a personalized experience based on not just what we do for agencies, but what we do explicitly for, in this case, TopDraw. And if there's 1,000 agencies, the story is the same for all 1,000 agencies that we're targeting. We have personalized adaptive content based on the state of the buyer journey and the marketing segment. So when they're engaging with us, we can look at the pages they visit. We look at how much time they spend on the pages, the chat topics, what they talk about, email engagement, anything that their webinar questions, any of these things that people are doing, ActiveDEMAND is tracking as far as data. And we adapt our website, we adapt our ads based on the state of the buyer segment and the stage of the buyer journey. And also, if they have explicit interests that they've talked about, either by looking at specific pages on the website or talking to us on the phone, ActiveDEMAND is tracking the conversations, what they talk about in the chat. So for example, they say, I use Pipedrive. If they say that on the phone, the ads they're going to see are going to start talking about how well we integrate with Pipedrive. And they'll start seeing tooltips and overlays on our website that talk about Pipedrive. And if we look at the website, once they've signed up for a trial, now the website's going to adapt and start talking about, hey, you should book a meeting with us because that's the next stage in our buyer journey. The overlays, the tooltips, the ads, everything will change to bring the person to the next stage of our buyer journey, which is book a meeting. And the results in this, and it's been absolutely outstanding, and I'm just using the example of the agencies, and we do similar account-based marketing strategies for software as a service companies, specific industries, etc. And it's without a doubt, it's undeniable. We've gotten very exceptional lift in our conversion rates, exceptional lift in our page depth, time on site, session length, re-engagement, and loyalty to the site is all increased because of this contextual content approach to account-based marketing that we're doing. And it makes sense because if you think about it, somebody comes, let's imagine like the old school approach is having a industries we serve link on the website and emailing a specific account to get to that part of the website. The issue is if they come back through SEO and they come to your main website, there's nothing about healthcare that you said to you do such a great job on. But with our approach, the total engagement with the website and all the ads, the emails, everything that we're doing with this individual prospect is aligned to the problems that they are facing as companies, not just as members of a broad market segment. So it makes sense that you would see this lift because, and the data doesn't lie, it's the truth, is that we absolutely have seen these massive increases with this account-based marketing strategy. So I think best practices in all of this, regardless of what business you're in or what the buyer profiles you're targeting, I think the top of it all is you got to get the data right? The data is available, and if you're not using the data, it's the case that you're at a significant disadvantage. And I think that you have to get a stack strategy in place. Either you're going to use tools that integrate very tightly, or you're going to simplify the stack to just a couple of tools so that you can maintain data consistency across the different tools that you're using. And think about the behavioral aspect, customize the journey, right? It's a case that your prospects, just like our prospects, they have internal challenges, they have pressures, help them with the buying decisions. And don't forget about the emotional engagement, right? It's you want to be connecting, you got to get the robot out of the room, right? You have to understand your prospects are people, and your marketing process has to engage the people emotionally. And don't forget, we've got to be delivering value, right? It isn't. We've got to think about what's in it for me from the prospect's perspective, right? It's what are the challenges that they face? How can we deliver value to people in that specific space? And with account-based marketing, we should have very good data to understand where the people are and what are the challenges they face as a company. So really, summarize here, it's a case that we have to be building trust. I think trust is a significant factor in digital marketing. We're facing customers with short attention spans, longer journeys. We have, as companies, we're faced with trade-offs, unlimited wants, limited resources. We have to make choices. So really, we've got to understand and have a well thought out data strategy and a strategy in play to ensure that our data is flowing from the direct engagement through to the behavioral data all the way to structure our metadata and allow us to keep our segmentation up to date. And really, we've got to think about the personalization with content for higher engagement. So that's hopefully through this presentation, I've given you some good ideas on how to do journey automation, what the benefits of account-based marketing are, and some ideas on how to drive this stuff.